Okay, good afternoon, everybody. We are here this afternoon and we have on video practicing social distancing, which we always are in favor of here. We have Mr. Jeff Brown, and he is the owner of Brown's Shop Rite stores in the Philadelphia area, as well as the couple of adjacent counties. Jeff, how you doing this afternoon?
Good morning, Jerry. Thanks for having me today.
Okay, I wanted to start off real quick by asking you, because we have a lot of viewers and listeners that aren't from the area, and just give them kind of a little bit of background about who you are and what you do.
So I'm a fourth generation grocer, born and raised in Philadelphia, and from a young boy, my dad taught me to trade of the grocery business. And also, all four generations have spent a lot of their time in service to communities of color. My dad sold, he sold his business when he got older, and I started 32 years ago with Shop Rite. And we opened our first store in Philadelphia, and we now have 12 supermarkets, 10 Shop Rites, and 2 fresh grocers, and about half of them are in communities of color. And most of them are in communities that were formerly food deserts. And they were in communities that tend to be low income and not to have access to food. And we became somewhat of a national example of how to end the food desert problem.
Well, I know Philadelphia here in particular. It's funny that you mentioned the food deserts. Like, I think your chain of supermarkets are really the only quality and actual affordable type of grocery stores in the area. I see other grocery stores in the area, and I will give this to you and your staff. Your stores are extremely clean, and your staff is extremely friendly. And what do you attribute that to? Like, what drives you? Like, what actually puts you on this mission to actually get these stores like running the way they are?
So to us, this is a calling that goes beyond business. When we started to do this work very intensely, we realized we weren't like a regular business, and we had to figure out a way when we're bringing in employees to teach them that we're on a mission that's much different. And we actually put a program together to teach new employees about our purpose. And we have a mission to bring joy to the lives of the people we serve. And we are very intentional about what we do, what we don't do. And every employee goes through a boot camp to learn about our ways. And to be honest, we're not for everybody. Some people come and they're like, I didn't sign up for this. I'm not going to stay here. But most people, most of my employees are very compelled by what we're trying to do for other people. And it's a way, like some people that want to have a life of service, it's a way to have a life of service, but focused on food access.
Well, I did notice, I actually worked with a couple of local organizations, and I do know that you do donate a lot in terms of like food and time and stuff to local organizations. I actually worked for an organization that benefited a lot. They used to get a lot of things from your fresh grocery chains. So what I wanted to ask you about, one of the things that I like too, I was out yesterday at the grand reopening yesterday over at 52nd and Parkside, and I'm going to ask you about that in a bit. But I noticed you have a lot of people working for you that would not otherwise be able to be hired at other places. And, I did talk to, a couple of staff. I actually know a couple of people that work at some of your locations. And, they tell me about how hard it was for them to find a job. And then fortunately, you gave them a job in spite of their criminal past. And, what actually inspired you to start doing that, where a lot of employers, won't give second chances to formerly incarcerated persons?
So yeah, that's a really good question, and we're really excited about our work in that area. But it was really when we were opening the Parkside location, we started a process when we started to do food desert work to have community town hall meetings, where I personally would lead a meeting that was attended by community leaders and interested community people. And in the meeting for opening the Parkside store, one of my customers very articulately laid out an idea she had. And she basically said, we really appreciate you. And I'm saying this because we care about you. And I'm worried about your success because a lot of your customers have been incarcerated. And you know, if you're incarcerated, you almost can't get another job. And if you can't get another job, we're not going to make a very good customer. And I know this is a tough problem, but you seem like the type of person that could to solve this problem. And so I would ask you to figure out how to do this the right way and to master it and teach the world how you did it. And her remarks really resonated with me because I thought she was right. That is one of the pillars of structural poverty, of structural racism. That's one of the pillars that is so difficult to overcome. And it's so systematic. Like you could just tell your HR people, know people that have been formerly incarcerated, and then you're excluding a lot of people of color. And so we, in that opening of that store 13, 14 years ago, we hired our first 6 returning citizens, most of which are now in store management. And yesterday, when I was talking with them before they went up, they're all homeowners. They have families, you know, they teach Little League. To me, it was a way to make structural poverty, turn it into the American dream that we all should have a chance at. And today we have 600 or 700 returning citizens working for our company. And we set up a nonprofit, Uplift Workforce, because I realize it's really hard for businesses to understand and to have the know-how to do this. And now, if you're in the food business, we will do it for you, Uplift Workforce. We will interview and recruit people that are prepared to turn their lives around. Sometimes they're formerly incarcerated. Sometimes they're still incarcerated. We have a relationship with the Philadelphia prison system. And, you know, it's really smart when you're going to be released, train the person and get them a job before they get released. Don't let them just suffer and not have any income. And so we've been doing this for 3 or 4 years, not just for my own business, for the entire industry. And the success in every place we do it with has been just as successful. And so this is really just totally misunderstood by corporate America. They're under the perception that this is just some huge boogie monster risk that they won't be able to control. And the truth of the matter is, the way I see it, is we all have made mistakes in our lives. And unfortunately, sometimes they result in an incarceration and a record. And once you have a record, it's a life sentence as far as the impact on your income and your ability to work. And I think as a country, if we want to do something to address the inequities we have, we need to end this completely. And people need to be educated that this does not and should not be a life sentence.
Well, that's good, you know, that you're actually doing that, because I found that some of the hardest workers are formerly incarcerated persons because they want to get out. You know, a lot of times they get out and they want to do right. They want to do right by themselves, by their communities, and by their families. And it's kind of disheartening to get the door slammed in your face constantly because of something that you did in the past, and you're actually trying to make a change for the better and actually trying to, you know, be positive in your community. Last thing I want to talk to you about is the reason for your reopening yesterday. What happened?
What do you mean?
Well, some people may not know exactly what happened at your grocery store. I was down there yesterday, and we had broadcast live, and you know, you led a prayer service, which was great. But some people out there may not know, well, what was the grand reopening for? Why did it need to be reopened?
I see. Yeah. So if you didn't see it on the news, but I think it would be hard to not to see it. You know, there was a lot of civil unrest in Philadelphia in the last week to 10 days. There was looting and rioting. There was also peaceful protests, which was very positive and moving, but it got out of hand. And in some neighborhoods, the police did not provide the protection that's necessary. And unfortunately, 2 of our biggest, most successful food desert stores were overcome by looters and destroyed. They were left in really horrible condition. We, as soon as the next morning, as soon as that happened, there was an incredible outpouring of support from the community. Hundreds of people showed up with my workers and everyone that we brought. And we got to work in fixing those stores up because the people in the communities I serve literally didn't have food or medicine. And so we had taken all the fresh food that were in those two stores that the looters didn't take, and we donated it to the community to hold them over, until we could get them open. And we got both of those stores renovated, broken equipment, 99% replaced, and restocked within a week.
Yeah, that is amazing because I remember looking at everything on the news, and even I was saying to myself, it's gonna take this guy a couple of months to get back open, and wow, you're open in like a week. So it really must have took a real big effort on the community to actually pull together and actually get everything back open.
It was a tremendous effort, and it was a local community, but it was also people I do business with just know the importance of the work I do and the service to people who need it, and they rallied behind the situation. Another Shop Rite owner had ordered self-checkouts that he was ready to get installed, and all my self-checkouts were destroyed, and he let me have his order. And so, that's why it would normally take 6 months to repair a store like this. But there was a tremendous outreach and just pure love for the work we do and getting us back and getting the community back what they need. And so it was really, I'd say, pretty close to a miracle because the stores look beautiful today.
Oh yes, it does. I was in there yesterday. Everything's brand new. Everything's all nice and everything. Last question I have for you: are there any more Shop Rites coming? Are you going to open any more? I think we had one close on City Line Avenue, Haverford, and there was another one that just closed on 40th Street. Were you maybe trying to open up another one to replace those, or?
Yeah, the 40th Street store was owned by one of my colleagues, Pat Burns, and he lost his lease, and Acme took it. So it wasn't because he didn't want to be there; he wanted to be there. For the coming year, I have 2 projects planned that are renovation projects. So of my 12 stores, 2 of them are physically not representing my vision for how I want to serve my customers. And the first project's in Bensalem, right outside of Philadelphia. And we are going to totally renovate that store and make it a Brown store that's one we could be proud of. And that project will start very soon. And probably next year, early next year, we're going to do the same thing for our store at 24th and Oregon in South Philly. So we are busy with those 2 projects, which are big renovations. So we haven't added new locations, but I think that there's going to be a national change in the climate of the politics of our country. And what we do is part of a comprehensive solution to make things right and make them equitable. And I do believe that more food deserts need to be eliminated. And we're committed to Philadelphia, and we're certainly believe that if the opportunity came up, we would step up and try to help more communities get what they need.
Okay. Well, thank you for putting so much into the community. So, I mean, we appreciate it. I know, I was born and raised here in Philadelphia, and I know in particular where I live near, as a matter of fact, I live 5 minutes from your Penrose store.
Oh, so, that store is beautiful now.
Yeah, I know. I was actually just in there. I just shopped in there yesterday. Yeah. So, anyway, thank you for joining us this afternoon. I know you're a busy man. I know you got 12 supermarkets to run. So thank you for joining us, and have a wonderful day, Jeff.
Thanks for having me, Jerry. I appreciated our time together.
All right. Thank you. Okay.